In this section, we're going to go over pivot tables used in Excel. And pivot tables will allow you to quickly summarize and analyze large amounts of data, such as this. Let's just say we want to create a pivot table that we could summarize revenue by client and by period. And we see with this spreadsheet we have a rather long list of documentation. We have over 4,000 lines of information. It's pretty cumbersome to sort this information out. So a pivot table is a great tool in your arsenal. And here is what a pivot table will look like. You see, I've created this pivot table to show by client revenue earned. And I created a filter by the month of recognition. And if I click on the down arrowhead, if I wanted to find out revenue by client for June 2006, all I have to do is click on 6/2006 and it will show me this information. If I wanted to see what the revenue was for November 2005, I would select November 2005 and I'd have this information. So you could see how handy a tool it is. Now, how did I create this pivot table? It is simple. And if you look at want ads, they'll look for intermediate to expert user of Excel. Pivot tables is what they mean. They mean, do you know how to make pivot tables? So this is a great thing to become familiar with. Let's say we want to create that pivot table to show by client, revenue, and for the particular month we are interested in. We can do that simply by selecting Insert, selecting Pivot Table, and for Select a Data Range we are going to select the columns we want information to be pulled for, and then we're going to choose to have it located in a new worksheet, not the present worksheet that this information is in. So we are going to select OK. Now the spreadsheet is separated into two parts. You'll see the blank pivot table here, and you'll see to the right how we are going to add information to this table. You'll see we have the titles of our columns, the client, invoice number, amount, month of recognition, and below we have fields where we are going to click and drag these titles. Since we want to filter it by month of recognition, what we're going to do is we're going to select month of recognition and we're going to drag it down to the report filter. And you'll see the filter appear above. And if we click on the down arrowhead, you'll see we have the months of revenue recognition available. In our row labels, we want to have the client information. So what we're going to do is we're going to click and drag client to the row labels. In terms of what we want added up, we want the amounts of the revenue added up. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on amount and we're going to drag it to values. If you look to the left, these numbers look mighty low. The reason for this is because it is counting. It is not summing. So how do we fix it so that it sums up the data and not just counts it? Well, we go to the values, we click on this down arrowhead under values for the amount, for the count, we click on the down arrowhead and we select value field settings. And you see how it's set to count. We don't want that. We want the amounts to be summed up. terms of revenue. So we're going to select sum, and then we're going to select OK. And you see how it has drastically changed. Now it is summing up the revenue for us. Let's just format this so we can see decimal points. And you see now we see all the revenue, and if we wanted to filter it down by a particular month, we can select that month and select OK and see it for that particular month. So this is how you create pivot tables and how you create concise, informative summaries out of huge lists of data. And it's very impressive to perform, especially for people who don't know too much about pivot tables. So get familiar with pivot tables.